To know what I brought to the table.
Say it again. Can you say it again?
He wanted to know what I brought to the table.
Whoever that is, shout him out.
He sees and say, why are you not picking up the phone? But it's the fear of being rejected. Like if you don't call me back, or if you don't text me, or if I say I like you and I love you and I want to be with you, and you say that's not where I am, then my feelings are crushed. So now we tend to play like, I don't want to express myself unless you express yourself. Or if you come to the line, I'll come to the line. Want to know why the hoes are getting wifed up, or the girls with the past, or the girls who shake their booties on Instagram or stuff like that. It's because they are who they are. At the end of the night, a man doesn't have to guess who she is. There are women who date broke guys because they're in love. There were high value men, and I mean high value men. I chose to be with someone who didn't have as much as this guy because I felt like this guy meshes with me well. You already know, ladies, if a man asks you what you bring to the table, you need to just get up and walk to another table and let him see what you do at another table. Give you the real.
We're gonna keep it real.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real at the 8.
I like this. I like this.
8 at the table.
You know the vibes.
You already know, ladies, if a man asks you what you bring to the table, you need to just get up and walk to another table and let him see what you do at another table.
And if you keep on walking to too many tables, you might end up looking like a server, so be careful. What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Rico Hundo. You already know the vibe, sticking up for my guys. But that rhyme, that's pretty dope, right? All right, so we got a special guest today, but before we jump into that, thank you everybody for the love, the support, the likes, the comments. Keep doing your thing because we appreciate it. Now let's go straight into our one-on-one with our special guest, Kiyomi.
What's good, you guys? This is Kiyomi Leslie, and tonight you're gonna see me in a different light. I'm gonna get raw and uncut. You're gonna see me vulnerable. I'm gonna have a one-on-one, like, give you the real.
We're gonna keep it real.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real at the 8.
I like this. I like this.
8 at the table.
You know the vibes. All right, so boom. I'm gonna get straight to it because that's just how I do. You know what I'm saying? We're going straight to the point. Straight to the point. So we were like, lurking on your gram or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Not the first time, you know what I'm saying? But we saw that you said something in regards to the game and men. So I'm gonna ask this question.
Okay.
Should you, or how do you, either or, sell a man a dream or the same dream that he's trying to sell the woman?
Okay, what I said was, I'm gonna sell a man the same dream that he wanted me to buy. And what I mean by that is, like, I feel like men try to sell you on something and they think that you're supposed to buy into it. But me, I'm gonna play into it, but I'm gonna make you buy the same dream that you wanted me to.
What if that requires certain actions?
I mean...
Like, for example, right? Let's say it's like, he's selling you a dream by telling you all this extravagant things. And he's like, all right, we're going to go out X, Y, and Z. Let's pick Greece.
Okay.
So now he sold you the dream of going to Greece. You're going to match that.
I want to go to Santorini.
Yeah, exactly,
A little bikini.
You know what I'm saying? And now y'all got that whole vibe. Y'all there for 4 or 5 days, whatever.
Okay.
How do you sell that dream? How do you match that energy?
That's easy. Like, I'm going to be on whatever vibe he's on. Like, I'm going to make you feel comfortable with me. If you're talking about marriage, life, and kids, I'm right there. I really do. Like, that sounds so good. Like, that's wonderful. And I mean, when you touch, you transfer energy. So I'm going to always keep my energy high so that when I transfer my energy, you feel where I'm coming from.
And she's doing this really good, by the way. But what I'm going to say is, that's cool, and I get that, and I understand that. But my thing is, it's like, now let's just say if he's selling you the dream on, like, the lifestyle, which you might already know, right? But now he wants to press forward. It's not about wife and kids and futuristic. It's about sex tonight, now, in Greece.
Okay.
So are you going to match that? Are you going to sell him that same fantasy?
I think that's kind of tiptoeing the line because as a woman, we always have the right to choose. I've been flown out, flued out, but you know, I've been flown out to a lot of places. And I mean, if a guy expects sex, then that's just what he expects. But in my mind, I'm just going to have a great time. And so I always feel like if we're grown and that happens, then it happens. But I don't feel pressed to. Like, if he's trying to get me to go there and I don't want to, then I'm just going to be like, it is what it is. I'm not there yet.
All right, so my question is this, because I understand what you're saying, right? And honestly, I agree. I like the grown part. But what I'm going to say is, what happens when you're in that position and he's really pressing, but you saying, no, maybe he falls off tonight, but tomorrow's another day. He's pressing, he's OD. And I know how guys are because I'm a guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't give it to me the first time, I'm still going to keep consistent.
I've been there.
Exactly.
And I've just said no. Like,
but you're not uncomfortable?
As a woman, no, I'm not. I mean, it can be uncomfortable, like, if that happened to you for the first time, but after a while, you just get comfortable. Like, it's like, no, my cycle's on, can't, or this is really not, like, you flew me out here to just have sex with me, no. Please
make sure before you even book the plane ticket, you check her cycle dates. Because we can't use that as an excuse, but she's smart. All right, but my thing is, all right, boom. Let's get real now. Real.
Okay.
Let's say a guy is selling you a dream. Because now you got to realize you're both players.
Yeah.
You playing, he playing. Sometimes players end up with nobody because they keep playing the game, which realistically is a con to the game, because if you playing and I'm playing and then nobody...
We don't know what's real.
We don't know what's real. So now, how do you decipher the two?
I think for me, it mostly goes on the vibe. Like, for me, I've been in a situation where we played, like, when it first started out, it was just, okay, we know that we're both having fun. We're both just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And then, like, over the course of time, I'm like, what are we doing? Because at this point, we're spending a lot of time. And I may not ask that directly, but I show it with my actions. Like, am I spending the night frequently? Am I, like moving in? You know, guys will make you feel comfortable. And if I feel comfortable, then I'm going to, like, try to see where I can get with it. And if I don't feel anything, I'm not going to press it anymore. I'm just going to move on.
But you don't think that like doesn't warrant a conversation?
Yeah, because I had a guy, like, he told me, like, he was just like, I thought that we were in a relationship already. And I was like, I didn't. And I asked you, like, I asked him what we were doing. And he said, you know, he wanted to know what I brought to the table.
Say it again. Can you say that again?
He wanted to know what I brought to the table.
Whoever that is, shout him out. But go ahead.
Baby dad. But I originally got offended by the question because I feel like if you don't see what I bring to the table, then, you know, you will never see it. But, you know, as women, we might not financially bring the same, but I bring the napkins, I bring the plates, I bring the food. Because you may bring the table, but I bring the things to make the table. And making the table is just as important.
I can't let you on that. I really want to be on this side. But I had to really fire somebody up that said that. Yo, because that's not good enough.
Why is it not good enough?
You know what would be a better answer?
What?
If I'm going to help you build another table.
I don't believe in that. Like, if we're a team, we're building one unit. We're building a table. I don't have to go make you build another table.
You're a partner. All right, I'm not gonna get too far into that. But what I want to say is, all right, so he asked you what you bring to the table, and you got offended by it originally. What was your answer?
I really didn't have an answer because it was just on some chilling at the crib, and he was just talking. I was letting him talk candidly without interrupting, and so I didn't really want to interrupt where he was going. But he was just like, out of all the girls I talked to, and once he said that, I kind of like tuned out. I was like, out of all the girls he talked to, so he talked to right, and so I didn't even want to offer what I brought to the table. So after that, I kind of moved on, and I was just like, okay, it is what it is. And then I moved on to a new guy, and we started dating publicly. And, you know, he was like, I thought we were in a relationship, so I was surprised by you getting in another relationship. And I was like, you never told me. He was like, I didn't think I had to because I felt like I had options. And when he saw me at another table, that made him reconsider what I brought to the table.
But this is what I'm trying to say, right? In totality, right? I feel like relationships are really precious. Right. And it's more precious now than it ever has been because now most relationships fail. Mm-hmm. And I personally believe a big reason why most relationships fail today is because of that. You playing, I'm playing. One takes something some way, one takes something another way.
I can take accountability for that. That is a problem that I tend to have a little.
You know, that's, oh my God.
It's all about accountability.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. That's the first time I heard a woman on 8 at the table said, I'm gonna take accountability for that. But I agree though, and that's real shit though, because sometimes like it gets misconstrued.
Right.
Like you're saying
but you
that,
know why?
What?
Because it's pride. Like I've had to set my pride aside. Like if I really like you, I'll send that triple text message. I'll send you the ABCs and say, why are you not picking up the phone? But it's the fear of being rejected. Like if you don't call me back or if you don't text me or if I say I like you and I love you and I want to be with you and you say that's not where I am, then my feelings are crushed. So now we tend to play like I don't want to express myself unless you express yourself. Or if you come to the line, I'll come to the line. Meet me halfway instead of just owning up. And if that person doesn't, then just be okay with it.
I feel like that's, I mean, I agree with that 100%. I think that's really a young mentality.
Yeah.
I feel like as adults, once you start to grow up, especially us,
But who's raising who these days? It's the young raising the young. It's not a grandmother raising you and giving you the game or a mother or a father.
I think it's actually the lost ones raising the young. Because I've learned how to be straightforward with my intentions with a woman from...
And that gets you further,
outside of my mom, right? Outside of my mom. She put me on game. But when I really, really, really first implemented it, it came from an older woman who had many failed relationships, who told me, tell me what it is.
Right, up front.
Yeah. And
so I'll know how to move.
And, and I did that and, going on and on with all the relationships that I had, whether it been serious or not, whether it been one of many, whatever the case may be, I've always kept it that way. And I feel like there's always a dream that's being sold that's preventing that.
Right.
But like even times I had to tell girls to chill because they was trying to sell me a dream. I'm like, yo, listen, it's cool. I'm not even here for all of that. We're not even going to get that far.
A woman is going to tell you what she thinks that you want to hear. That will make her more acceptable or more likable or pleasing to you.
But you know what a man appreciates?
The truth.
When a woman tells the truth.
But sometimes the truth can be, if you were interested in me and I sat here and said, I've slept with over this amount of men, I used to dance, I used to do this and I used to do that, it may be like, you may put me in a different space now. Like, I can't date you, but I like you. So we can have sex, but I won't take you seriously. And you won't tell me that because you don't want to hurt my feelings, but you'll have that in your mind. And so most of the time, men will drag you along for as long as you're willing to play on the bus or the car, wherever. They'll drag you along, string you along. You have no intentions of getting married, having children, being in a relationship.
You know, it's funny, that woman usually wins. The one that's honest. Let me ask you a question, right? Have you ever been with a man who told you, yo, we're not going to take it serious, I'm messing with you and I'm messing around? You ever had that?
Maybe once or twice, but...
Okay, so let's just say, whatever, once or twice, out of those times, did you stay after he told you that? Yes.
If I did stay, I didn't take him seriously. I started dating other people.
Yeah, but you still stayed, right? You still exercise time.
Maybe.
Right? So I'm just saying that to say this. When a guy is honest with you, you're still going to exercise your time.
For sure.
And as a man, I'm telling you, from a man's perspective, right? If you was honest with me about, not saying you did or do whatever, but like your past, right? We will still, honestly, we will feel safer with you.
Right, and that is why a lot of women today, like I'm giving you, when I speak, I'm giving you the broad, like the general, but for me, most of the time I feel like when women say, oh, she's a hoe or she's this or she's that, and they want to know why the hoes are getting wifed up or the girls with the past or the girls who shake their booties on Instagram or stuff like that, it's because they are who they are. At the end of the night, a man doesn't have to guess who she is. It's the girl that has to hide who she is, and he is finding out like all of this secret stuff about her.
Yo, because earlier today, right, we had a guy talk, like earlier today we were talking, and they said that one of my homies said, my dad taught me one thing is that you never know. When it comes to women, you never know. And that's such a broad statement, but it describes a lot. You know what I'm saying? It does. So when a girl that is, but I'm not gonna lie, those typically don't get white for long.
I think that thing where they say women are better cheaters is really true, because we can go out and do everything and still come home, fix the food, kiss the kids, put them in the bed, and still have sex with you every night. Good night,
That's
baby.
you. Relax. A lot of women can't cook. Nah, women can't. Okay, a lot of women can't cook now. She can't fix the food, and she's moving sloppy. And now we got group chats. Before back then we didn't have group chats.
Yeah, Instagram.
So, yeah, now because I was saying this earlier, not earlier, but on a prior episode that women say men talk more than women, right? And I say that in a politically correct way, right? And it's not really, the only thing is that we actually be like, yo, bro, don't do that. We already know her.
Do you consider that hating?
Nah, I consider that real. Because guess what? If I was a hoe...
Every woman is different for the man that she wants to be different for. Like, I may have been a hoe. I may have not taken any guy serious, but then I get with you and I'm like, I tell you everything.
It don't work that way.
I'm different. It does. It can work differently. Like, women are different. Just like a man is different for the woman. You might not spend nothing on me, but go to the next girl and you buy her everything.
But it's different though, because this is why it's different. And we can't speak when it comes to women versus men in that ideology, only, in my opinion, only because a man is typically the provider. Now, if the woman is providing, then she could do whatever she wants to do. But when it's a man, it's like, yo, if I'm going to provide for you, knowing that the person I'm providing for was out here with all of these other persons, I kind of look crazy providing for a person who has been spread thin.
That's ego. That's ego talking. And when you release the ego and you talk with reassurance and confidence, then you won't have to feel like you have to talk because what you're really saying is, I don't want my friends looking at me providing for you and you used to be this, and that. Like, if you're confident in yourself, yes, this is a woman, but she's changed and you may have had her, but you have not had her in the way that I've had her.
I mean, I look at it as standards, not ego. And at the end of the day, we have to draw the line on what our standards are. Because at some point in time, you're not going to deal with certain things that somebody's bringing to the table, or I don't want to say bring to the table that, but certain things that somebody's past has, that has transpired in their past. As a man, and I'm telling you, for most men, we're not going to stick with that knowing, because as a man,
you want the truth. Now, a woman doesn't feel like, and to go back to what we were talking about with women towing the line or lying or withholding information, and that's because of what you're just saying right now. Like, a woman can be your perfect candidate, but because of her past, you X her out without even giving her a chance because of her past. Now, if I lie to you about that past and show you me and you get to know me and then you find out about my past, maybe...
No, that's even worse.
You may look past it.
Nah, hell no.
I guarantee you most men will look past it.
I mean, they will look past, but just because they look past it doesn't mean they're being real with you now. Once you set the standard that you're a liar, we're going to lie to you. That's how men work.
And men lie too. We all lie. We all withhold information.
I mean, yes. I'm not going to say nobody's flat out honest, but what I'm saying is when it comes to who you are, how you are, or what you were, it's your job and your duty to actually be transparent with who you want to take serious. Because the last thing you want is something in the past coming back up in the future that can harm you.
That's how I lead. But at the same time, you have to be willing to accept that or say up front that, if you tell me something about your past that I can't take, then I'm not going to be in a relationship.
And that's my opinion, right? Most times people can take what you did in the past. Most times people will take what you did in the past. It's all about when they find out and how they find out. Now, it's like women love when a man gives them that option, right? Men love when a woman is real and give him that option.
The option of what?
Like to know, like if you was really outside before, and I'm not saying he's not gonna dub you right away. He's probably not gonna wife you, right? But he's definitely gonna exercise it. But there are men that can look past it. But the only way that that's gonna happen is if you're open from the get-go.
Well, I mean, I can speak from my experience. The guys that I date, like, I don't have a long history, but I've done, like, jobs that were not considered the good girl jobs, like dance. And as a dancer, you know, that comes with a stigma. Yeah. And so when I danced, I like to keep it, you know, upfront and honest with the guy. Now, with some guys, I don't tell them that I dance, especially if you didn't meet me in the strip club. I'm not going to tell you that up front. I'm going to wait for you to know who I am, because if I go to you and say I'm a dancer, you're going to say, oh, she's trying to get me, or she's all about this, or she's all about that, or she's having sex with customers, when that's not who I am. It's a job. And when I leave home, that job stays there. I mean, you consider yourself to be a high-value man. You are a high-value man. So how is it, you know, how is it when you're a high-value man for you to have a woman who can also go from another table and get another high-value man after dealing with you? Like, what do you feel? Like, how does that work?
I'll be honest with you. It doesn't matter, because a high-value man is always in a win-win position.
Right, but you're saying a woman with the past is not going to be dateable, or is that your exact words?
Nah, I'm saying like some pasts are not dateable, right? Because some high-value men are just not gonna do that. Now, I'm not saying everyone, right? Because I can't speak for everybody. But sometimes what you do in the past will haunt your future. I believe in that. Right, but if it haunts you, what if I go sit at another table, or another woman goes sitting at another table, and that man says, I accept you? Because women nowadays, that are high-value women, we can go and sit at another table for a high-value man. You never have to downgrade. You can still go up. So what happens is your habits, or what you practice, become a habit. You're just gonna be bouncing from tables and tables and tables and tables.
Right.
And eventually what's gonna happen is you're gonna end up at no table. See, this is what we talked about before on the shelf life. You only have a certain amount of time before you can bounce on so many tables.
As a woman.
As a woman. So if you bounce on my table, and then you bounce on his table, and then you bounce on that table, realistically, you gotta spend time at each table.
But there are some women who do get wifed, and they stay there. And I feel like I don't want to push both, wifed and kept, because I believe in both. If you wife a woman and you have the means to take care of her, she should be kept. She should be taken care of. You should spoil your woman. That's what I believe.
I believe everybody should be spoiled.
And the men that I've dated have also agreed with that we live in this world where they call it tricking. You know, they say oh, I don't want to trick on a girl. But the men who have money, or have like, who enjoy spending money on women, they don't see it as that. They see it as, if I look good, my woman speaks for me, and I'm gonna make sure that when she steps out, that she is speaking for me. Like, you don't gotta talk. Yeah. When you see me, you see my woman, she's fly.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a traditional mindset of a man, in a sense where if a man is spending to make his woman look the part, that doesn't mean she fits the part. See, a lot of men nowadays, I feel like, value women that fits the part rather than looks the part, right? Yeah, I spend money on her, right? But she got her own money.
Right, for sure.
So I don't mind spending money on her because she got her own money. And she actually spends money on me. We spend money on each other.
Okay, we hit on that, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants somebody that's it's 2022. Gas is over $5 to $6 a gallon right now.
Hold on, what that post say? You talk about the gas. I know that
your
designer
Johnny ain't
is
real.
fake.
But what I'm saying is, it's 2022. Even gas is high. Nobody's dealing with somebody that don't got it.
Right.
Not a man.
I feel like for women though, it's more acceptable, because I saw this one interview where the guy was like, if a woman has it all, like I saw it and I was just like, what? Like, it makes women feel like, we got to be good, but we can't be too good. We got to be rich, but we can't be too rich. Because if we're too rich, we intimidate men. So it's like, where's the balance?
Can I tell you this? Never take that type of guy's advice, please. I'm going to tell you because as a high-value man, see, and this is scratch me being a high-value man, right? Okay. a high value man will find value in a woman that can actually do what he does and appreciate it. A insecure rich man will find it intimidating when a woman is making money. It's way different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I and I say this all the time. I'm gonna say it again. My mom is a very hardworking woman, and she makes a lot of good money. She's a Leo.
Oh, Leo, Aries.
Got fired.
Right.
I know. I deal with y'all all the time. Trust me. Like my whole life.
I know it.
So, but like I value that so much because that's the type of woman that I watch.
Right.
I was raised by a woman that can get to it and figure it out. So I appreciate it.
So do you believe that because you watched your mom do it, that a woman is supposed to do it on her own?
100%.
Like, so because your mom was a strong woman who was able to do all of these things, and I don't know if she did it alone or whatever, you think that a woman should be able to?
I don't want to, I
feel like
I hold it to a higher regard than most men would.
I feel like in the Black community, we hold Black women to a different standard. We want them to be strong, Black, independent. But in other races or other cultures, that's not the case because they're called gold diggers or they've dated for financial stability. And I feel like when it comes to Black women, we're looked down upon for dating for financial stability.
I just think it goes with how you're raised and what you've seen. I'll give you an example, right? If I was a man, let's say you're dating two men. You dated two men. One man in your life got it out the streets, out the mud, but he got it. You know what I'm saying? He got it. Everything that a rich person got, he got. Whatever it is, he got it, but he got it. But he got it out the mud.
Right.
But that man wouldn't be as valuable to you had you had watched somebody get it out the right way. Right? If I was working a job and I was a doctor, but I got the same as this guy, but I'm a doctor and I'm doing all this extra stuff, you wouldn't even be like, yo, the risk that you're taking is not worth it for me.
As the street guy or as the doctor?
As the street guy. Okay. Because if you grew up watching your dad, let's just say, be somebody that supplied you all of these luxury things, and he supplied it the right way, you would not look at the street guy and you might get tempted because we all want the thrill, but scratch the thrill. When we come to keeping and having a husband, you would not try to marry somebody who's risking his life.
Because when I have a child, I want you to be like
you want to be
stable.
Like stable, yeah. But at the same time, it's because it's what you've seen.
Right.
Now, if you never seen a doctor or you never seen somebody who was getting that money and you saw your dad in the streets.
That's not true, though, because in my case, my dad did like 25 years in prison, and I saw that as something, you know, he got locked up on drug charges, but my thing is, I didn't see that as a bad thing, but I didn't necessarily go for that type. Like, I saw something, I attracted more professional men, and although I was in an industry that wasn't professional, I still attracted a certain type because of how I carried myself.
And that makes sense because there is a double-edged sword where you could say, all right, I learned what not to do.
Right.
But majority of the cases, they actually repeat the cycle, right? So this is why, like, and I'm going to give you some kudos. This is why you have success, because you've learned what not to do.
What not to do.
You know what I'm saying? Most people don't know what not to do. So they kind of repeat it and it happens over and over again. So to answer your question in totality, I'm saying, yes, I do hold the women to a higher standard than the average traditional man would because I know your abilities. I don't know your abilities personally, but I know from the women, my grandmother has her own company that makes a lot of money.
But I feel like you're putting pressure, like, and not just you, but like men, the men in general, you're putting pressure on women to be a certain standard when each woman is made differently. So you're holding these women to a standard. Like, you didn't see their struggle because I'm sure all of them struggled, but they did it. But in the same sense, like, everybody is different. So you can't say because my mom did it, because my grandmother did it, that I gotta see you struggle because that makes you a real one. Like, no, women are soft. We deserve to be catered to just like any other, like, race or, you know, Black women. I feel like they shouldn't have to struggle or get it out the mud.
But I'll tell you this.
Like, okay, if I was to tell you right now, like, I was a housewife, what would you automatically think, just right off the top of your head? I'm a housewife. You ask me what my job is. I
would have to ask you how long you've been a housewife. I'd have to ask that question.
3 years.
Then I'd be like, okay, cool. Then she's probably capable of something because she wasn't a housewife before. If you said you've been a housewife all your life, then I'd be like, It's different. Now,
but most people see being a housewife or a house mom or whatever you want to call it as not a job, when there are some men who strictly want you to be a housewife. I don't want you to work. Yeah. I don't want you to do anything but take care of the house, me, and the kids.
But you got to understand that that's a traditional man, right? So now we're talking about, like, I can't speak for anybody. I'm in my 20s. I'm talking about today in a 20-year-old man. Mm-hmm. I watched every woman from my parents to the women that I went to high school with, to the women that I went to college with, making means, right? And as a man...
That doesn't make it right.
No.
Just because you saw him make means doesn't mean it's right.
I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is you have to know who you're dealing with. So most high-valued men, and I'm just speaking for myself. I got it out the mud. I started at the very ground. I started at ground -2.
Me too.
You know
Me too.
and look where we're sitting.
Right. At the table.
At the table, because you know why? You possess something at the table, and I possess something at the table. So I value you, and you value me. We have a mutual respect for each other. Right. Now there are men that are I personally feel that are super insecure and possessive and use their money to control the narrative of their... For sure. But those are weak men. Those men don't get respected by the real high value men in this world. There's a lot of, like, people think that money makes you valuable. Money does not make you valuable. There's a lot of cornballs with money.
And money doesn't make you happy. At the end of the day, you can have a lot of money and you can be in a relationship and have it all, but still not be happy. And I think that's where we're at in today's relationship world. Like, a lot of people look happy on Instagram and like they have it all together, but behind closed doors, they're probably not having sex. They probably sleep in separate rooms. They don't talk for months, or they hate each other in real life.
I'm not doing that.
But it makes sense to be together.
Nah, that's like some weird shit. I can't.
But that's the reality.
I feel like people, my opinion is the situation that you're talking about, people fear being alone. Those are people that fear being alone, or they think that they're too old to go back in the field. And that's a whole different ball game where, you know, you have women and men both get into the game and they don't know what they doing. They still posting up pictures like this. like, well, hold on, move the phone back. But I want to get back to what you were saying, because I didn't get to fully answer that question. And I believe that it's unfair that as a man that I can't be appreciative or be praised for being appreciative of the woman's ability. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I believe and I know what you can do, I'm not saying push you. And yes, it's pressure. Honestly, there will never be a single relationship that I am in that there is no pressure, because I need the best of you.
Pressure is needed, but when you say that you don't want to be with a woman, or you can't be with a woman, or you don't consider her a high value woman because you didn't see her go through this pressure, then that's what I mean is like wrong, or like you can change that narrative. Like, she can be from like the struggle and still be soft and taken care of. She doesn't just have to get it out the mud for you to love a woman. Like, what if she didn't have to go? What if she didn't have to work hard? But she was still a good woman. A
man just wants a woman that's an asset.
And not a liability.
He respects an asset as a partner.
Right.
Because you're a partner. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want... When I say I do to death do us part, you got work to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I got work to do. We got work to do. But that goes back
to what you were saying about like the games, because I feel like that is in itself a game. If you're having a partner, then you should pick up where your partner lacks. Like, if I lack anything, help me, teach me. If you really love me, bring me up to where you are. If you say, I like this person is my soulmate, she may not have the pressure, or she may not have the type of ambition or whatever. You can give her ambition. Maybe she just hasn't had anybody show her that. Maybe nobody around her has given her guidance. You can be that guidance. Women will love you more if you teach them something.
You know what? And come here. I got to ask you one question now, because you done set yourself up.
Okay.
And I hope you can answer it, because we had a conversation. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I asked this question to one other guest, and I'm going to ask you because you touched it. I was never going to say it.
Oh, my goodness. What you about to ask?
I'm going to ask you because we're talking about picking up where you left off. We're talking about being a partner, and it sounds poetic, and that's cool.
Right.
I'm going to say what I said to you to somebody else.
Okay.
All the women in my relationship, everyone in my serious relationships, I could tell you what I taught them.
Okay.
When your partner was lacking something, partners, anyone, what have you taught one of your partners?
One of my partners was not good at public speaking, and I was really good at public speaking. That was my strong point. Interviews kind of made them nervous, and I helped them with being comfortable and how to not say like, and all of those things. Like I'm comfortable being in the public eye. And so I kind of helped them with that. I gave them tips on how to be on Instagram. Like they just want to do one thing. I may teach them like, okay, look, this is how you can make money on Instagram. This is how I make money. Like different avenues.
She's a winner. Come on, pound it.
Like, I feel like...
Yo, I like that, so go ahead.
I feel like, you know, when you ask me
Why didn't you say that, though?
What?
That's something that you bring to the table. Knowledge.
But like I said, I felt like when I sat down at that table, if you don't see what I bring to the table, watch me go do it at another table, because I don't have to explain what I can do to you, like do for you at this table. He saw me doing what I was doing at another table, and he came back around to the table, and we sat down and we are now eating. You know what I'm saying?
But my thing is this, and this is a game that people play. And shit, I'm about to put my business out there.
No, listen, okay, one thing. I was gonna say, sometimes when you ask women these kind of questions, we get nervous, and we, like I said, we wanna tell you what you wanna hear, but sometimes we may not know how to express it. And so if I don't know how to express it, now I'm getting angry, and I'm speaking out of anger and emotion, and I can't give you the message like I want to.
Okay, so that sounds like a woman thing,
Yeah, for sure.
or I'm not gonna say all women, but that sounds like a personal thing that needs to be practiced. But I just thought about something, and you know what's crazy to me?
What?
I had a relationship where she didn't know how to be a wife. You know what I'm saying?
And what do you consider a wife?
Like, she didn't know how to do, all right, this is what you have to do in my household.
Okay.
You have to be able to do some domestic work. In terms of
clean, take care of the kids.
One of them, she did none of them. You know what I'm saying?
So she don't cook, she don't clean.
But she didn't get a ring. So what ended up happening was I left her, right? And I was like, yo, you listen, not for nothing, like you lack some things that I'm looking for.
Right.
And it's just me. I'm not.
Did you tell her like that?
Straight like that.
Okay.
And it's not just like you might find a guy that might be cool with that.
Really of you.
No, keeping it real.
Okay.
So after that, I left, boom. But you know, you always double back and you talk, especially when you're in the same state, whatever.
Right.
And she was telling me about this new guy that she was talking to, right? And now how she was doing all these things for him. And she said that the guy looked at her and said, why are you doing this? I can tell this is not you. And she said, well, because my ex left me because he said I didn't do these things. So I'm trying to do these things. So she's trying to place napkins on a new table, but she can't even fold it right.
Well, that might not have been his love language. You remember when I said, you
I
remember
like that.
the question that I said is, what is a wife to you? To some men,
True.
And I can use my sister. She's not going to kill me for this. But I can use my sister as an example. She does not like to cook. She does not like to clean. But she still gets a man to love her and love her hard. I mean, she's an Aquarius and everything.
Oh, she's different.
A lovable, she's a lovable person. But, you know, she still gets wife. But I feel like she attracts the type of man that says she doesn't need to do those things. Like, if she can't cook, I'll buy food. Like, I'll cook. Like, you know, I feel like in a relationship, it's give and take. If I don't like cooking, then you cook.
Yo, you know what I just thought about? I don't mean to like kind of like go on a tangent, but I just thought about something, right? I don't know how old you are. I'm gonna tell you, like, back in the day.
We're around the same age.
All right, cool. I like that. So back in the day, right? I remember.
Back in the day, that's.
I'm talking about high school, but like freshman year in high school.
Okay.
Black women used to say this. And yo, this is so crazy. I'm about to. Thank you, God, for bringing this up, because like I forgot all about this, right? Black women used to say, stop dating white women. This is 2007, by the way. Black men should stop dating white women because you're just gonna be eating takeout every day.
Hold on, wait, what? Rewind that.
Black men should stop dating.
Who said this?
This was like a thing back in the day. Like if you dated a white girl, you was eating takeout food every day because they couldn't cook.
Okay.
But now it's so funny because look at how the narrative has changed over the last 15 years. Now
I don't know. I really think it's about where you are and where that man is mentally, because when I moved to Atlanta, I used to I like to say I'm from the country. I'm from like North Carolina, so Southern Belle. But when I used to cook all the time, and then when I moved to Atlanta, you know, a guy would say, "Oh, I have her wrapped around my fingers, got her cooking and cleaning," but I feel like they didn't take me serious, and I was like young, fresh, ready, and vulnerable. So it was a good stage, but they didn't take that serious, and I feel like a man has to be mentally in the right space to accept those things from a woman, because that man may not have been in the right place to accept her cooking and cleaning. I'm
gonna say, all right, I want to use a different word. I don't like accept. I'd rather choose appreciate.
Okay.
Right? But just to touch on what I was saying, because I don't want to get it misconstrued. When I said look at how the narrative has changed, I was really speaking in the sense of like now it's like takeout food and eating out is cool redundantly, and it's really not. The key to a man's heart is being able to take care of the home, right? And whatever that may involve, everybody's home is different.
Right.
You could pay a maid maybe. If you got a 15-bedroom house, I'm not expecting you to vacuum all 25 bedrooms.
Even if I got a 3-bedroom house, like I don't feel like my job, I wasn't put on earth to be a maid and cook and clean and serve you. That was not my job.
Ooh, you sparked my nerves on that.
What did I spark?
Yo, because that's one of my most my skin crawls when I hear
what
a woman is not supposed to be a maid or serve a man when they forget. Like, don't forget.
Okay, I'm listening. Don't forget.
A man ain't supposed to be a slave.
How do we make you slaves?
What do you mean? If this house that I'm paying for, if I'm a construction worker, no matter what it is, there's a majority of men that's breaking their back or their pocket to try to provide for a woman.
And you don't think a woman does the same?
But what I'm saying is I'm serving you.
And a woman is serving you.
But you're saying you're not supposed to.
Do you think raising a child is easy? Could you do it 24/7, 7 days a week, all day by yourself? It's hard. Most men, you're a high value man.
Oh, thank you.
Most men could not perform that duty by themselves all the time. Like women take care of the child. We give our bodies away. We give our time. We go through postpartum depression. We still have to cook, clean, have sex with you when you want it or desire it, look good. All of those things are hard work as well.
But I'm saying is like that, and I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying is, to me, it's weird when somebody says to me, right?
I'm not saying that I won't do it. I'm just saying that's not my sole purpose here. Why would you want me to do that all day 24/7? If you said, these are your duties, and I've had this conversation with the guy. Like, if he said, I want you to cook, clean, and take care of the kid, right? Okay, if I don't want to clean and I can hire a maid service with my money, that should not be a problem to you if I don't want to do that.
Nah, it wouldn't, but it would if you did it solely. Because as a parent, I believe you're supposed to lead by example. So you can't teach your kid how to clean if you're always paying for somebody else to clean. That doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? But what I would say is like women need to understand that you may feel like you're a servant to a man, but never forget that a man is a servant to you.
We're a servant equally. That's what partnership is.
And that's what got to be understood.
But I don't feel as though I should be cooking and cleaning and doing all that.
And I don't feel as though I should be working every day and all my money's going to this house, which is for this family.
But think about it like this. Even if you didn't have me, you would still have to provide those things for yourself.
No.
So when
not
you say
necessarily.
that, don't just say that you're providing it.
Nah.
So would you live a lower lifestyle because you don't have a woman?
Every man will live a low. You ever been to a man's crib and they be like, I make this house a home. You know how you made it a home? Because you took the money and you bought decor. We was cool without the decor. We was cool in the studio with a futon.
Cool with the cheap mats on the floor in the bathroom.
We was cool with that. But like a man will lower his standard because he'll go ahead and rock out on the basic necessities of what he needs to go on a day-to-day. But he would amplify and give everything that he can when he has a family. I'm not gonna say a woman.
You should. You lead by example. If you have a son, you want your son to do the same,
Okay,
right?
cool. So but what I'm saying is, why is it just keep it equal? I'm a slave to you. You a slave to me.
And if you don't want to go to work, sometimes you shouldn't have to. But that's not my fault. You got to go to work. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you can work for yourself and take days off.
All right. So like this, like all this, we're gonna jump into the next one. I just thought about what you said about the meme, right? When it's like, if you talking about gas prices, we know your designer ain't real, which is bullshit. But what I would say is kind of crazy in my opinion, because this is my opinion. I feel like in our community, right, when we're starting to run low or we need to, you know, maximize our resources instead of cutting back on a lot of the things that we do that may be foolish or maybe just, you know, leisure. I feel like our women be like, yo, double down. Like, nah, you better not stop now. Or if you stop now, oh, you broke. Or if you stop, it's a lot of like tension that comes with it. Opposed to like when you see like billionaires and they losing money, they be like, yo, sell the yacht. I don't care. Sell that beach house. I don't care. Sell everything. I'm keeping my bread. We're gonna give us like another 3 or 5 years. We'll buy everything again.
I think it's all about communication. Like, especially if you're in a relationship. Like if I'm in a relationship and we are living large, like, and I always say start out like you can hold out. And sometimes as women,
say it again.
Start out like you can hold out. What that means is like, if you're like, let's say if you're trying to get me, right, and you're buying me watches, you're getting me necklaces, you're getting me laced down Birkins, everything like that, and then you stop like a year into the relationship or 2 years into the relationship, now I'm gonna think, is something wrong with me? Is he falling out of love with me? Because you did all these things in the beginning to get me, and now you're stopping. So what does that mean? Like, and if it's financial, be man enough to have that conversation with me, because I saw another meme that said, like, if she wasn't with you at the bus station or something, like if she'll be with you in the 𝗓𝗏s, then she can sit with you at the bus station. If you let our financial situation get us that far before you had a conversation and we're supposed to be partners, why should I now have to suffer with you?
Well, you got to think about it. Like, I mean, listen, I understand I had many businesses in my life, right? I'm not going to say many, 4, right? And 3 of them failed. And it didn't fail in just like, a couple of them didn't fail like in a year time frame. It failed
Failing teaches you lessons.
Yeah, but failing also humbles you and then it'll show you who's really with you.
Right.
So like when, let's say in a month or 2 months, like you just see it going downhill and then
But that's a game. If you're listening to it, are you gonna see who's with you? Like okay, I'm not gonna tell her that my business failed. I'm just gonna see if she leaves, if I stop doing this. That's a game. That's a mind game. Instead of just telling me what it is. Like, baby, the business isn't doing good right now. I can't do this, but you know, if you give me time, we can make it work. I can probably get back on this. But right now we gotta conserve.
But here's my thing is this is like sometimes in a man's life, things happen so fast.
Right.
And when you're trying to pick up all the pieces, you don't actually have time to think about having a conversation when it's happening fast. I'm not saying when it's been a 3-year, 2-year stretch and, you know, it's been diminishing and then you never said nothing. I'm talking about in a 3 to 6 month stretch where shit is just going down.
Right.
And you're just trying to pick it up.
And that conversation is hard, but you have to have hard conversations.
I don't even think that it's really hard. Sometimes that's the last thing on your mind. Especially depending on what you already got and you're trying to maintain. You're not focused on
what if, back to what you were saying, what if now your wife can provide for the table? What if your wife wants to help? Like, yeah, I can sit back and let you drive, but now when you need me, what if I'm willing to step forward? But now you're not allowing me to do that because you're not even thinking that I'm able to handle what you're going through, or you can't. So much is happening. Like, I'm your partner. I'm your homie. I bet you told your homie, like, dang, bro, my businesses ain't doing good, blah, blah, blah. I'm your homie.
But you know what the problem is?
What?
The problem is when a guy asks you what you bring to the table and you don't have an answer. See, you are my homie and you are my partner. And there are women, like, I believe a power couple is when I'm down, you up. You could hold this up till I get back up. I say this all the time. I don't care who you are in life. You will go up, you will come down.
Right,
but you will go back up. But sometimes when you go down so fast, you don't have time to think about everything else. right? But if you got a person who's a partner and you know their capabilities, I can include you in helping us, not me, helping us get back up.
Right.
Right? So like, that's why that conversation, and all conversations are so important. I know what you could do, but I think I know what you can do. You really know what you can do. So if I'm asking you, yo, what is it that you're great at? Maybe I can find a way to maximize what you're great at for us. It's not like a personal thing. It's not a disrespectful thing. Not everybody knows. Like you probably dated somebody for mad long. I know I have. And then at the mid to end of that relationship, you start finding things out about them that you're like, damn, if I had knew this.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be here right now. You didn't even give me the choice.
Or maybe I could have even helped you do this.
Right, for sure.
And that's all because nobody wants to have the actual conversations of the capabilities. And I personally believe that's because we don't really want partners.
It has to be at the right time, right place. Like conversations, like I don't think that conversations should be had if you're emotionally passionate at the moment, or if you're having like a heated debate. Like if we're debating and then you start asking me, well, what do you bring to the table? Like now I'm in a defense mode. Like I'm not trying to have a real conversation. I'm trying to see, well, what are you talking about? Are you trying to play me? Now we're speaking from ego and pride in a different place from love and trying to come together and find unison.
All right, I just want to get into this. So we already talked about that. Okay. Not already, but now that we talked about that, right? I'm just bringing it back to when you were saying about how like somebody asked you. I don't know when that was. We're not going to disclose it.
A while ago.
Cool. Now, if somebody asked you today.
What I bring to the table?
Yeah, I'm not saying answer it, but could you answer that without being defensive? Obviously in the right space.
Right, in the right space, yeah.
Could you answer that without trying to show you walking out? Because
what you mean walking out? Like getting up and walking out, literally?
Nah, because what happened was on the last one, right? When he asked that, you walked out, you started bringing it to somebody else's table, so he came back.
It wasn't necessarily, when we were talking about me having that discussion with him, it wasn't that I walked out immediately and said, no, this is it. Like when he had that discussion, like I said, he also brought up the fact that out of all the girls that he talked to, I was the one. So in my mind, I'm already asking him, what are we doing? And he answered it for me. He was dating other women, and out of all of them, he would talk to me, but he didn't know what I brought to the table. And that was an answer for me.
He was weighing his options.
Right, he was weighing his options. He was young, he was having fun, and that was okay for me. But, you know, and we still talk, but once I found someone who was interested in me, I kind of moved away from that. We didn't leave at a bad point and say, oh, blah, blah, blah.
But now going forward, if that conversation happens, how do you handle it the same way? Or would you think you would handle it the same way? Like, my thing is, you know what? I got 2 questions for you. What do you want in a man? A spouse.
I want someone that is a provider. I want someone who's loving. I want someone who's able to communicate with me, because communication, I feel like, is key, and understanding is key too, because we can communicate all day, but if our understandings are different, then we're not even going to be communicating. Okay. You're not going to understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to understand what you're saying. I want someone who lets me be myself. And what I mean by that is I don't want to be in a relationship and hide who I am, as far as I like to twerk, I like to have fun, I like to go out with my homegirls, I like to get on Instagram Live, I like to get ratchet. I don't want to have to hide those things about who I am, or have to portray to be this perfect person that I'm not, because I'm going to be unhappy. Like, I'm not living in my truth. And I feel like it's going to get boring, because now I have to keep up this facade. Okay. So someone who accepts me for me, someone who really loves me through everything. And I mean the hard conversations, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like when the wig comes off and I'm crying and, you know, and I'm telling you about my family and my life and my background, I want you to be accepting. I'm not really too difficult. Like love, providing, understanding, commitment.
Now I'm going to ask you even more of a serious question. I know that you want somebody that all of those traits or attributes. What are you willing to sacrifice for a man that can accept those things?
I could tell you. What I was willing to sacrifice, I can speak from experience. I was willing to sacrifice myself. I had a child. When having a kid was something that I really wanted, but at the time in my life, I was, you know, really up here and living a wild and crazy life, and I settled down. A woman is willing to sacrifice her time, her if you're talking to other men, other ventures, you can sacrifice your career, because most of the time women move with the man. So if you move to California to pursue your dreams, or let's say if I have a kid, we have a kid, and your dreams are in California, I'm going to move with you. Even if my life is still in Atlanta, I'm going to let you pursue your dream. Most of the time, women sacrifice the most when being in a relationship. Life, jobs, friends.
I mean, I disagree, but...
You disagree?
I disagree.
Wow. In an effed up situation, and it got as toxic as it did because I was trying to make everyone happy. I was trying to make the naysayers happy about, like, oh, she's just gold digging, or I'm trying to make somebody happy saying that it would never work. He's a player. He crush a lot. He ain't gonna wife you. Now I'm staying in this toxic relationship because I'm worried about what other people have to say instead of, actually, this relationship is not serving me. It's not positively serving me, so let me get up. I stayed until it was too late, and we had to be separated, like, by the police. And if they wouldn't have separated us, Lord only knows where we would be right now. We'd probably still be together in some toxic shit. Going back and forth. Yeah,
I mean, I agree. I don't think it should ever stay that... I don't think you should ever get to that point.
But that's what, when you say that,
I'm saying stick it out. But I get that. But when I'm saying stick it out, I'm saying stick it out when it's like, yo, times are bad. I'm not saying that the relationship is bad. I'm saying times are bad.
But you have to realize that when you're speaking to women are very impressionable. So when you say stick it out, or if you don't see it through and you get up, I don't think that because I want to bounce around from table to table to table. Like if you don't like a restaurant, you're going to go to another one. You're going to go to another one. You're going to go to, that doesn't make you a bad person for not liking 𝗓𝗘𝗧𝗦 and you're going to.
But you understand you can't also enable it too, because when you keep bouncing around from table to table to table, sometimes you never eat. Like at the end of the day, you're going to go home hungry.
I don't think so. I think you can go from table to table to table and be very full.
Nah, because what's gonna happen is eventually, you're never gonna know where to sit. And when you don't know where to sit, you can never be served properly.
But if the tables...
If you got up...
and let's be clear, if the men do not fit me, I'm not going to stay in something. And I don't think that if a woman doesn't fit you, then you should try to make her fit you.
I agree.
Don't make and don't be scared of dating and keep dating. Like, that's what we were here for. We were put here to find a person to match with, and if you don't find that match, it's okay to keep dating.
I think you weren't here to find a person to match with. You were here to find a person to build with, and I think building and matching is different. And now we live in the fantasy
progressing, partnership, all of that.
Yeah, but like matching. This is the thing, though. You got to think about it. In 2022, people the vein almost came out. People think that they're
the vein is coming out.
Yeah, the people think that they're gonna match. That's the most fantasy makeup fairy tale, which is why more than 50% of marriages fail.
What do you get when I say match? Like, what do you hear when
I hear match is like, okay, you work and I work, we're gonna work together, but when times get rough.
No, that's not what I meant. What I meant by match is like, you match me, we mesh. And that maybe is the word that I'm looking for, but like, you mesh well with somebody. We were put here to mesh, find our soulmates, right?
Do you grow?
Yeah, I feel like we grow every day.
All right, cool. So when you grow and I grow, let's say we're dating, you growing and I'm growing, right?
You have a conversation.
No. Scratch that. You're growing into a new woman. The woman that I see you as today will not be the same woman that I see you as 10 years from now. The man that you see me as today will not be the same, hopefully, will not be the same man that you see me 10 years from now. So when you grow, you have to understand that you got to constantly find a way to keep together, because you can't mesh the whole way. There's nobody meshing through every growth cycle.
But you don't want to grow apart. So you come to the table and you talk about where you are. And I feel like it's always good to sit down and talk about where you are in your relationship now, whether it's 6 months. Am I making you happy? Is there anything I can change? Is there anything that you like? Is there anything that you don't like? Because if you don't, let's fix it. Don't wait until you can't take it anymore and then say, I don't want to be with you because all of these things and I knew nothing. Like,
yeah, life is, I think this is how I view life is quarters.
Right.
If it was a game, there's first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, right? First quarter, whatever. Second quarter, you meet me. My second quarter game and my third quarter game is going to be different. So then when I say stick it out, what I'm saying is, okay, cool. Sometimes, I'm not saying all the time.
Right.
I don't want to get that misconstrued.
Right.
Sometimes you got to be like, yo, I know who he's going to be.
Right. And I think women do that most of the time. We see who you could be.
But men do it too. Because think about it. Men will take somebody at the bus stop.
Women will too.
Women won't take.
Most women will. Most women can date a broke man. In the generation we are in now,
you're losing me. You're losing me.
No, I'm
you're
not.
Losing
no,
me.
I'm
you're
not.
losing
no,
me.
I'm not.
I was with you until now.
There are women who date broke guys because they're in love. Like, when I was in a relationship with a guy and he didn't have money, that wasn't why I dated him. I dated him because I really liked him. There were high value men, and I mean high value men. I mean, your favorite rapper's favorite rapper type stuff.
Okay.
And I chose to be with someone who didn't have as much as this guy because I felt like this guy meshes with me well. We can talk about real life things. I don't think that this guy fits me well. And I want to see where this guy takes me. Yeah,
but you know what happens? Out of all of your relationships, which I don't know if you're with him right now.
No.
Exactly. So out of all your relationships, right?
Ooh, child.
Exactly. All of your relationships that you had, right? You probably dated more high value men than you dated that type of man.
High standards keep you from low quality experiences.
And I want that with women too. This has been a great episode of 𝗓𝗘 Table. Shout out to Kiyomi for popping up.
Right, Kiyomi. And we had a great debate at the 8. What's good, you guys? This is Kiyomi Leslie, and we had a great debate at the 8. And you already know, ladies, if a man asks you what you bring to the table, you need to just get up and walk to another table and let him see what you do at another table.
And if you keep on walking to too many tables, you might end up looking like a server, so be careful. I'm just saying that.
You got a point. You got a point. I'll let you pass.
You got a point. You got a point. I'll let you pass. Everything has been great with you, Kiyomi. I want to say thank you for popping up.
Thank you for having me.
I will see everybody next time at 𝗓𝗘 Table.
And make sure you subscribe, like, and comment.
Pow pow.